1. The power of an open-ended tease, "You won't believe what happened," is one of the most effective cliffhanger-style phrases in storytelling and marketing. It doesn't tell you what happened instead. It challenges your imagination to guess. It works because human curiosity is wired to seek closure. When a statement is left open like this, the brain feels an itch to know the missing detail. It also implies that the event was extraordinary, shocking, or emotionally intense, something that defies normal expectations. This phrase tells your audience, something happened. That is worth your time to hear, something you could never have predicted. 2. The implied promise to the audience. When you say, "You won't believe what happened," you're not just hinting at an event, you're making a promise. This story will have high-stakes emotional, personal, or even moral stakes. The twist will either shock, disturb, or deeply move the listener. The reveal will be worth the build-up. It will justify why the friend was introduced and why the dinner scene mattered. If the payoff doesn't deliver, the audience feels cheated. That's why the setup in parts 1 and 2 must slowly build trust and anticipation, so the reveal feels both surprising and inevitable. 3. Building up to the unbelievable bore. The unbelievable moment happens. The audience should feel a slow increase in tension, subtle signs during dinner that something is off. A moment where the wife senses the conversation turning in a dangerous direction, the friend dropping cryptic remarks or showing unusual behavior. By the time the reveal comes, the audience is both ready for something to happen and caught off guard by what it actually is. 4. What makes something unbelievable? To live up to the phrase, the event must be emotionally extra. Meat should stir intense emotions: fear, betrayal, excitement, desire, or shock. Examples: the friend confesses a long-hidden truth about the husband's past. The husband reveals a secret the wife never suspected. A romantic or intimate gesture crosses the line in front of everyone. The morally challenging, it should force the audience to question what they would do in that situation. Example: the friend asks for help with something illegal or morally questionable. The friend blames the husband for something tragic in the past. The unexpected but plausibly twist should surprise the audience, but in hindsight make perfect sense given the hints in parts 1 and 2.5. How the phrase works psychologically. You won't believe what happened is an invitation to participate in the story. It's like a whispered secret. You're pulling the audience closer. It taps into the fear of missing out, FOMO. If they stop listening, they might miss something unforgettable. It creates a feeling of exclusivity. You are being told something that not everyone knows. 6. The scene mechanics leading to the reveal. In an actual narrative structure, here's how the moment would unfold. A final moments of dinner. Everyone seems relaxed, maybe even laughing again. The tension appears to have eased. The friend tops off drinks, as if signaling the night is not over yet. The wife catches a look between the two men, something private, loaded, and unreadable. The catalyst. The friend makes a bold move, says something too personal, reveals a secret, or makes a physical gesture that changes the air in the room. The wife feels the shift immediately. The atmosphere thickens. See the unbelievable action. This could be one of many scenarios, depending on the tone of the story. Romantic, forbidden. The friend confesses feelings for the wife or kisses her. Secret, betrayal. The friend reveals he and the husband share a hidden past. maybe involving another woman, a betrayal or a cover-up. Danger, threat. The friend announces he's in trouble and needs the husband's help dragging them into danger. 7. Emotional impact on the wife narrator. The narrator's inner reaction is key to selling the unbelievable nature of the event. Shock. The mind goes blank for a second, unable to process the moment. Confusion. Part of her wonders if she misunderstood. Did she really see or hear that? Emotional punch. A rush of emotions hits betrayal, fear, anger, attraction, or dread. 8. Audience reaction and engagement for your YouTube channel audience, especially in romance, drama storytelling. This phrase works best when the reveal forces them to take sides: teen wife, team husband, or even team friend. The event has moral complexity, so the audience debates in the comments what should have happened. It leaves at least one unanswered question, something that keeps them thinking after the video ends. 9. Ensuring the payoff matches the build-up of the story has been building through parts 1 and 2 with strong emotional beats. The part 3 reveal should answer a hidden question raised earlier in the story, shift the power dynamics among the three characters, create an emotional aftershock. The characters should not be able to return to normal after this. Example progression. In part 1, the friend is introduced as charming but mysterious. In part 2, the dinner builds small moments of tension, hints of a deeper history. In part 3, the friend's unbelievable action explains all the subtle clues and pushes the story into a new emotional territory. 10. Why? This phrase is the perfect closing hook even after the reveal is given in the story. The title keeps the promise alive for potential viewers. On YouTube, this phrase in a thumbnail title makes people click because it teases mystery without giving it away. For returning viewers, it becomes part of your storytelling brand. They know you won't believe what happened means they'll get a dramatic, emotional payoff. 11. Variations to keep it fresh. To avoid repetition in future titles, you can use alternatives while keeping the same pull. What happened next left me speechless. I never expected this to happen. The truth shocked me to my core. What he did will haunt me forever. 12. Final emotional resonance. The audience should walk away feeling surprised, but also satisfied that the twist fits the characters and situation. Emotionally invested, wanting to know what happens after this moment. Hungry for more because they trust your storytelling to deliver drama and payoff. You won't believe what happened isn't just a line, it's the emotional thunderclap that makes everything. The choice of words stayed for dinner might seem simple, but in storytelling it's loaded with implications. It changes the encounter from a brief, casual meeting into a prolonged, intimate gathering. Dinner, in human culture, is rarely just about food. It's about connection, conversation, and sometimes conflict. By staying, the old friend crosses a threshold, moving from an unexpected visitor into someone who is now part of the evening's most personal family moment. This instantly gives the audience a sense that something significant will unfold. At the table. 2. Dinner as a narrative setting in films, novels, and short stories. Dinner is a classic stage for drama because people are seated together. There's no escape. Without breaking social etiquette, conversation flows naturally and can easily shift from lighthearted to tense. Body language is visible: who leans in, who avoids eye contact, Who stirs their drink longer than needed? The pace is slow, meaning subtle tensions can build and build without immediate release. Think of dinner scenes in drama. Sometimes they're the moment when a character blurts out a secret, tests another's reaction, or makes an inappropriate remark that changes the whole dynamic. 3. From drop-in to guess the phrase. Stayed for dinner tells us that the visit wasn't necessarily planned. Spontaneity. Perhaps the friend was only meant to stop by briefly, but ended up lingering, drawn in by hospitality or by hidden motives. Emotional significance. Staying implies a level of comfort or boldness. It says, "I belong here enough to sit at your table." Possible awkwardness. The wife may have been caught off guard, unprepared for a guest at such an intimate meal. This can be a subtle power shift. Her home suddenly isn't entirely her space. 4. Subtextual power plays at the table. Dinner can be the perfect environment for under the surface struggles. Husband and friend. Rekindling old camaraderie, possibly. Excluding the wife in inside jokes or shared stories she doesn't understand. Wife and friend. Testing each other's boundaries, maybe with polite smiles that hide silent judgments. Friend's role. He may be charming and warm or subtly intrusive, steering conversation in ways that reveal too much or hint at something unsettling. 5. Sensory details that deepen suspense for a rich, emotional scene. The dinner itself can be described using sensory cues to build atmosphere. Sight: warm, dim light over the table, soft shadows that hide as much as they reveal. The friend's gaze, sometimes on the husband, sometimes on the wife, lingering longer than is polite. A wine glass half full, but never touched, as if the friend is more interested in watching than drinking. Sound: cutlery clinking too loud in the quiet moments. Forced laughter from the wife as the friend tells an inappropriate story from the husband's past. The subtle change in her husband's voice when talking to this friend. More relaxed, maybe even boyish. Smell: the comforting aroma of home-cooked food contrasted with the faint cologne on the friend. A scent that seems almost deliberately noticeable. Touch: a casual hand on the husband's shoulder that lingers just a fraction too long. Knees brushing under the table by accident, or maybe not. 6. The friend's storytelling role. An old friend staying for dinner almost always brings stories from the past, and these stories can be used to reveal hidden sides of the husband, things the wife didn't know about. Foreshadow trouble: maybe the friend casually mentions an ex-lover, a past mistake, or a debt the husband never told his wife about. Test boundaries: stories can be charming, but they can also be weaponized to embarrass or undermine. Example: remember that time in Chicago when you almost didn't make it to the wedding? Such a line might seem innocent, but it could plant seeds of doubt in the wife's mind. What happened in Chicago? Why almost not make it? 7. Emotional shifts during the meal. The evening might evolve through 3 key emotional beats. Beat 1. Light-hearted warmth: the friend is charming, telling harmless stories. The wife might even find him likable at first. There's laughter, maybe even nostalgia filling the air. Beat 2. Subtle tension: the friend starts revealing details from the past that make the wife uneasy. Old habits, dangerous adventures, or questionable moral choices. She notices small glances between the two men that suggest there's more unsaid. Beat 3. Underlying threat: by dessert or after a drink or two. The conversation shifts to something heavier, perhaps a favor the friend needs, a secret he's holding, or a personal comment directed at the wife that crosses the line. 8. Psychological dynamics at play. The wife's inner monologue. She's constantly reading the situation, watching her husband's reactions, comparing the man she knows to the man the friend remembers. The husband's dual identity around his friend. He might revert to an older version of himself, more reckless or playful, leaving his wife feeling like an outsider in her own marriage. The friend's agenda, whether it's genuine connection or calculated manipulation, he's using the setting to establish his place in the couple's life. 9. Cultural and emotional symbolism of dinner hospitality. Inviting someone to share a meal is one of the oldest signs of trust and inclusion. If that trust is betrayed during or after dinner, it hits harder emotionally. Unity versus intrusion. A married couple eating together is a private ritual. The third person shifts it from an intimate moment to a social performance. Breaking bread as a turning point. In literature, sharing food often marks the beginning of either alliance or betrayal, sometimes both. 10. Foreshadowing through small details. Even seemingly trivial moments during dinner can hint at the coming twist. The friend insisting on pouring the wife more wine than she intended to drink. The husband avoiding certain topics, changing the subject when the friend brings them up. The friend making casual comments about how much has changed or what he misses from the past. These details plant seeds of unease, setting up the final "you won't believe what happened" moment in part 3.11. Why this moment is a pivotal bridge. Stayed for dinner isn't filler, it's the pressure cooker moment where characters are locked together in a confined social space, and the audience is leaning forward, waiting for cracks to show. Without this dinner scene, the friend's presence might feel random or unimportant. The eventual shocking event might seem sudden instead of a natural escalation. With the dinner scene, we see the relationships tested in real time. The suspense builds gradually, like heat rising before the boil. 1. Setting the emotional staggered phrase "my husband's old friend" instantly creates a triangle of relationships that can be loaded with emotions, hidden history, and possibilities for both warmth and tension. My husband implies the narrator, the wife, is speaking directly from her personal perspective. There's intimacy and ownership in this phrase. Old friend suggests a person from the past with history that might span years or even decades. This is not a stranger. This is someone who has seen your husband at different life stages, maybe before marriage, before maturity, before responsibilities. This friend carries emotional baggage, whether good or bad, and their reappearance can stir up dormant memories, loyalties, and even rivalries. From the very first words, a listener starts asking, who exactly is this old friend? Why is he here now? What does this mean for the marriage? Could there be secrets that this friend knows, secrets the wife does not? 2. Layers of possible history between them. The term old friend is vague enough to allow for multiple interpretations, and each interpretation opens different narrative doors. A childhood companion, they might have grown up together, riding bikes in the same neighborhood, playing sports, or getting into harmless trouble as teenagers. Childhood friends carry a deep, almost sibling-like bond, but they also hold memories of vulnerable, formative moments. If this is the case, The friend could represent who your husband used to be, reminding both him and you of a side you've never fully known. Be college roommate or party friend, someone from the wild, carefree days of youth. This friend might remind your husband of adventures, mistakes, and youthful recklessness. Such a friend could bring up old habits or even challenge the life your husband lives now, tempting him to be more like his younger self. See work colleague. From the early career days, maybe they met during a high-pressure job, where loyalty and trust were crucial. A friend from a career start might know about professional struggles, betrayals, or ambitions your husband never shared with you. The ex-rival turned friend. Sometimes old friends were once competitors in sports, romance, or business who eventually respected each other enough to form a bond. If this is the case, their dynamic might still have a subtle competitive edge, which can bring tension to any gathering. 3. Emotional weight for the wife. The narrator. For the narrator, hearing the phrase "my husband's old friend" might immediately trigger curiosity or even unease. Why? Because this person holds a special place in her husband's life that she has no control over. She might feel intrigue, wanting to know stories about her husband's younger days, protectiveness, wondering if this person's influence will disrupt the stability of their marriage, jealousy, not in a romantic sense necessarily, but in the sense that this friend shares memories and a version of her husband she never got to see. 4. Trust versus suspicion. The word friend sounds harmless, but in storytelling, it's often a wild card. Could this friend be completely genuine there for wholesome reasons? Or could he be hiding an agenda, whether personal, romantic, or even financial? Has the friend stayed in touch all these years, or is this an out-of-the-blue reappearance? If it's sudden, why now? For the wife, the challenge is deciding whether to trust her husband's judgment about this friend or to trust her own instincts. If something feels off. 5. The unspoken bonds between men. Men's friendships, especially long-standing ones, are often built on unspoken rules and shared experiences rather than constant contact. This means, even if they haven't seen each other in years, the bond can feel instantly alive. That bond may not always make sense to an outsider, the wife, leading to moments of exclusion or confusion. Sometimes these friendships carry unspoken debts, things done for each other in the past that might resurface and demand repayment, whether in loyalty, secrecy, or favors. 6. Symbolism of an old friend in storytelling and narrative terms. An old friend represents the past, intruding on the present. They can bring nostalgia and warmth, or they can bring trouble. They might serve as a mirror, showing how your husband has changed or hasn't changed at all. They can be the keeper of buried truths about your husband's past mistakes, loves, or regrets. 7. Foreshadowing. Through this phrase, a skilled storyteller knows that introducing an old friend is rarely done without reason. This setup primes the audience for revealed secrets, something the husband never told his wife, but his friend knows. Conflict of loyalty. If the friend asks for something questionable, will the husband comply? Emotional testing. The wife's trust in her husband may be challenged. 8. The first impression. 9. A fully fleshed story. The moment the wife first meets or re-encounters this old friend can be charged with subtle cues. His handshake too firm, too long, or too casual, his gaze friendly. calculating, or lingering a moment too long on her. The way her husband's demeanor changes, more relaxed, more guarded, or strangely energized. Every tiny detail in that first meeting can set the tone for the events to follow. 9. Emotional parallels for the audience. The beauty of this phrase is that many people can relate. Most of us have been in situations where someone from our partner's past reappears, and we wonder, what role will they play in our life now? Listeners can project their own experiences into the story, making it more gripping and personal. 10. Why it's the perfect suspense setup. The time a viewer hears "my husband's old friend," they're already imagining countless possibilities. A harmless reunion filled with laughter and memories. A dark revelation about the past. A test of trust that could make or break the marriage. This is why part 1 of your title is so powerful. It doesn't just introduce a person, it plants a seed of uncertainty that the audience needs to see grow.